All right, so we are calling to order our Consortium of Lake Area Senior Services Board meeting on September 8th of 2025. Thank you all for being here. Let's just kind of cruise through the agenda and see where we're at, what we've got going. Um, we do have a quorum. Yes, we do. And any reports, Scott, from you as co-president that you've got going on?
Nothing, excuse me, nothing big other than I suppose we need to have some conversations just about any additional funding with grants that we want to look into. We don't have to take that out of any order today, but should be maybe noted that would be something to have as a discussion at some point soon.
Excellent. Okay. That is, oh gosh, I think I'm looking at this now that I might have the wrong financial report attached here. What you do? I can sort that out. Um, let's kind of just go around and I don't have anything particularly, just the August Lunch and Learn was great. We had, I think, between 17 to 20 people that were there. It was everybody was great. They had a lot of questions and it felt good to chatted. I saw some nodding heads. That always feels good when you see nodding heads in the audience and people are like, "Oh, I didn't know that." So that was great. We also have some other business that we'll talk about later on for future events, but that's really all I've got to talk about there. We don't have to move down the agenda. We don't have to do a cake contractor because she's not on this board meeting today. So um, that's all taken care of. Can we just do a little quick go around and just like a minute or whatever you've got just to tell us what you've got going on and then tag somebody else after you.
Can I go ahead? Because I'm going to have to leave early. Okay. So we have more, the county the county manager presented her draft of the budget, which will not change. They call it a draft, but it's unlikely to change. And there are going to be public meetings and there's going to be presentations and all of that. Your property taxes are going to go up by 10%, FYI. Ramsey County's been actually very conservative in that, and we just can't anymore. Compared to other counties, we've been really conservative, and we can't. They did not talk about how much money we lost. I can tell you, of course, it was millions of dollars in federal grants that we no longer have, federal funding. They have cut 43 currently filled positions. And the 9 years I've been at the county, they have never cut anything. I don't know what the positions are. None of them are in public health. That's the only thing I know. So that's a great thing. Yeah, the board members were clearly not happy about having to do this. There was a lot of explanation and apology about the property taxes and comparisons to the other counties. So I would encourage you to think about going to one of those presentations or community events. Honestly, I don't remember. I don't think there's a link yet to them, but when I have that, I'll send it. I don't think so. I think they haven't done that yet.
What's an average increase? You said it's going up 10%, but what does that compare to on an average year?
Average is about 7.
Okay.
Yeah. 7.3. I don't know the exact average, but
Okay.
we have been below the other metro counties for a while, so that's just not feasible anymore.
Julia,
Yeah.
when you said your taxes are going up 10%, isn't it the case that the county chunk of our property taxes is going up 10%? Because there's the county and the schools and the city all are 3 biggies on the property tax bill.
But we're not, I don't think our percentages, because that would mean that other people would get a lower percentage.
A 10% increase in the county levy does not translate into an overall 10% increase in my property tax, is what I'm saying. That's my understanding.
I'll have to look into it. I believe you. I don't know.
Okay.
We were all a little overwhelmed at the board presentation.
Okay.
So-
Sorry.
No, that's great. I'll look into it.
That is also my understanding. I can try to find, we had a graphic we had put in a newsletter a while back, kind of explaining property taxes. I'll see if I can find it.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, same as from the planning commission, we had a whole financial breakdown in Little Canada about what portion of property taxes that you get from the county go to everywhere. And I know that at least like 20% of it goes to the city or something like it's the 1 point or it's 19% of it goes to the city. So that probably wouldn't go up. I think that yeah, that there's a county portion of it that would go up 10%, right?
Your
Unless
property
there's just
taxes
saying a
are gonna go up.
blanket. Yeah, if they're just saying a
Yeah,
blanket, your county property taxes are gonna go up by 10%, that is a possibility.
Yeah. Ally said she can check. I'll also check the PowerPoint that they sent out. So. Thank you all. Not my area of expertise.
Yeah, and take somebody else to go ahead and give us an update if you wouldn't mind,
Oh, I'm
Julia.
sorry. Ally, you want to go ahead?
Ah, sorry. When I have two screens, I can only do certain things on certain screens, and then I feel like I get all hustled over everything. Yes. Right now we are just finishing up. We finished up summer day camp. Yay. Our citywide festival is over with. Yay. I'm trying to be on cleanup mode. But at the same point, we have our wellness fair that is happening on September 20th here. We do have room for vendors if they are still interested. I know Amada is already signed up and they are coming. So yay. For a table, if you are interested, it's from 9 to noon on that Saturday, the 20th. But yeah, between that and just trying to get back in the swing of things and find myself in my space. I will be out of the office starting on Wednesday. My little one has surgery. She has her tonsils and adenoids out on Wednesday, so then I will be out the rest of this week and then part of the beginning of next week, just working from home. So it makes it a little bit more interesting on our front. So that's kind of all that's going on around here.
Popsicle City for you.
Yeah, we went and I'm pretty sure we just bought every single ice cream treat possible. I can't believe I spent that much money on frozen foods.
Frozen sugar.
Pretty much anything and everything to make her happy at this point. So she's very nervous, but she'll be fine. But it's just this. She doesn't take medicine. She refuses to take any kind of medicine. So that's going to just be our main struggle. It's just getting her to take it. But so cross our fingers. She'll be fine. We'll be out of there by noon on Wednesday and life will be good. She can lay on the couch all day. So, let's jump over to Katie.
I am just getting back in the office. I was out last week, so I'm catching up a little bit. We have lots of summer stuff or fall stuff starting. We have some new community ed classes with ASA Charter School that we're really excited about. We have a learning to weld class that's starting this week and just kind of like doing some new stuff. So working on fall things. We'll be setting all of our winter schedules and that kind of thing soon. Next week already, is that next week? We have our September speaker series is about growing microgreens. So if anybody wants some indoor nutrition over the winter, we've got that going on here at City Hall with the Master Gardeners. Yeah, just kind of doing the next season stuff. Lynn.
Hi everyone, happy fall, y'all. Let's see. Here at Family Means, we're finally fully staffed since I started. We were down a social worker, so I'm thrilled that we have 2 of us now doing everything. Fall classes have started this week. Powerful tools for caregivers and finding meaning and hope, and which is a 10-week series for caregivers. And next week we'll start our we do a class for both the person living with dementia and their caregiver. And that will start, that's a 10-week series, Shaping Your Tomorrow, that only Family Means offers. And we do it twice a year. Everything we do, we seem to offer it twice a year, both 6, 8, and 10-week classes. So all of our fall classes are starting and fully attended. This, I will say, as a Northeast Metro colleague, this east to the riverside is aging rapidly. Not that everyone isn't seeing that in their suburb, but I had no idea what White Bear was sitting next to. It's no one's leaving Stillwater, and it's, I'm sure you've all had touch points over here, but I did not service. I only serviced Ramsey County for my whole career. So Washington County is a whole entity in its own, and lots of aging people. So I hope we can get, I've been brainstorming who we can get on our board here from this area, because it's clearly, the services are growing really fast and furious over here too for seniors. So that's what's happening.
You want to tag somebody else?
Yes, I do. Let's see who hasn't gone yet. Scott.
Here we go. Hey, everyone. I think the biggest news, and hopefully Julia is still on, even though she's dark in the screen there. I just want to let her know that with the funding that has decreased with some grant opportunities, it has caused us to halt the continuation of development of the St. Paul West Central Loop, which is going to have hopefully have helped up to 24 senior communities and people living in their home down there. But the Live Well at Home grant was denied to us. After all these years, they've changed out some of the course of which they take their applications in. And there was some things that we had put in there. It had nothing to do with the narrative, but it was just something, the way that they were changing their selection, which was sad because we were really hoping to help down in that Rondo area and south. That is not happening right now, which is unfortunate. If there's good news, our recently developed Roseville area loop has been doing fantastic. We are serving on upwards of 50 to 60 people every week, getting them out into community. So our circulator loops are doing well. We continue to have a lot of activity within our other senior communities with their request for event needs, working with cities like Vadnais Heights for senior programs that, Katie will come with an event that needs to be filled for transportation, and we take care of a lot of that as well. So things are very good and busy. We're just having to go down a different path now for some funding opportunities in the months and years to come. That's about it for me. Let's go with John. Goal Vikes, by the way.
Was that? Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, so the work that Mike has been doing on the east side involves the purple line, which might not be purple anymore, which is sad because purple pride. Come on, guys. There are talks about redoing the line hefty through White St. Paul and then skinnier into Maplewood. There's kind of backroom discussions with Maplewood staff that are opposing it or had been opposing it. The Met Transit is like, we're going to tell you about what's happening real soon now. And that keeps on getting pushed back and back and back. So the folks that I work with in St. Paul and Maplewood are looking to have a kind of a community information rally support for people that think that really good transit is a really great thing. It's going to be on Wednesday, September 24th, at the Maplewood YMCA. We're going to feed people spaghetti and talk to them about why the East Metro could really use a pretty strong transit backbone so that we can connect folks that Scott's circulating to the downtowns. That's going on. I'll definitely send y'all a flyer on that. The climate for transit, not great at the federal level, and that's the current proposal for the rebranded Purple Line, and they're either talking the Silver Line or the Bronze Line as possible names. I'm like, second place, third place, don't we deserve first place transit? That proposal would not be a federal proposal. It would be Met Transit and Ramsey County doing the bulk of that. Both for affordable housing, for senior housing, and for mass transit, the city of White Bear Lake has got new political winds blowing. The mayor and one of the council members who actually kind of got elected on no rush line wins, well, they have both decided that they're not going to run for office. There is one woman running for the city council position that was held by the anti-Purple Line woman. There's for the mayor, the current mayor isn't running. There were three folks that were running. There was a primary. One candidate got something like 80% of the vote, Mary Nikolaski, and is on track to be, it looks like, the new mayor. And they're both kind of progressive women, both of these folks. Ellen Gurella, let's see. I had it right in front of me just moments ago. Ellen is, I met with her and talked to her, and she said, the biggest thing that I see is seniors need transit. And if you can, Ellen Garola, thank you. If we can make the case that seniors would like to go to Maplewood Mall from White Bear, that would be a good thing. It's probably not going to be the current build out of this line, but you can extend things. So new possibilities there.
Just an FYI, Maplewood Mall is one of the places for the Ramsey County Service Centers. So
okay.
Folks might want to go there for that.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, Amanda, have you gone?
That's Jess.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Jess. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Jess from Amada Senior Care. My apologies.
Okay, so sorry, hit the wrong button.
Well, I called you.
No, I hadn't I had not gone yet. I don't have a whole lot. I am in my new office space, which is great, above Keys and White Bear. I will look at holding one of our network meetings here. Just couldn't for the next one in October, but let's see, what else do we have going on? Oh, we are looking for a market development manager. Some of you, I think I announced that at the last meeting. So if you know anybody that is looking to work, and it's mostly focused on the Southwest Metro, maybe West, Central West Metro too. Maybe 20% of their time in the North Metro, but we are looking for somebody full-time for that. So would love if you put that out there, you hear anything, let me know. Yeah, just busy here in the North. It's growing, it's going well. I don't have a whole lot else to add.
Awesome. Is that or Allie? Did we no? Good to go. Everybody good to go. Okay.
Sorry, one more thing.
No, that's right. You just finished your city stuff. That was all the activities. Go on.
Yes, sorry. So thank you for the pamphlets, Taylor. It was very much appreciated by my church and by the pastor. So I had a great meeting with him. He was chin to the desk, mouth open with this brand new information. He had never heard of this, and I hope I did it justice presenting it to him. But I don't know. I find it fascinating, and I'm interested in what you shared, and so passed it along, and I gave him the pamphlets, and he's going to pass that along to our congregation. So
Awesome. That's so cool. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for passing that on. And it's like that's what we're doing. Like I spent 3 hours yesterday at the Como Classic, the St. Paul Classic at Como Pavilion, because there's a big 30-mile bike trek that they do every year, and they have an eco fair at the end of it. So we're just trying to get the information out there about this because not everybody knows it. So so yeah, we're still talking about green disposition options for us. And on October 11th, we're actually hosting a green funeral expo in St. Paul at our St. Paul location so that people can come and just get all the information directly from us and the vendors and everybody, and then kind of choose their own adventure and get their questions answered at Table Talk. So it's about an hour of presentation, 45 minutes of presentation, and then there's cheese boards and crackers and wonderfulness, and they can come and do that. And then also in North St. Paul, we are having a lunch and learn for pre-planning. It's on it's September 16th. Yep, at 11:30, lunch is at noon, and it's just one of those, again, little casual free lunch things. We feed everybody from the VFW in North St. Paul, and they can just find out new stuff about funerals and pre-planning and what veterans are entitled to, all of that stuff. We want to make sure people get all the benefits that they are due. So that's what we've got going on. So there we go. Anything else that anyone's got? We'll cruise along because we've got some stuff that's sort of not terribly heavy lifting to do, but some things to think about today. Okay, so back to the agenda. We have got talking about finances. We are still, as always, looking for a treasurer. I am the sort of pseudo acting treasurer right now, and I'm sorry, Scott had mentioned earlier about seeking additional funding, and I think we're all having a conversation right now about funding in the nonprofit sector and the way that the kind of belts are tightening. And I think that we're probably not the highest priority on people's list, but we ask for small amounts, which is kind of nice. So we're not asking for huge funding, we're asking for smaller amounts. But if you open up I fixed the link in there so you can see our finances, our financial situation. Our balance as of today is $2,532.89. So we don't have a lot of expenses. So it also kind of asks the question, well, what do we want to do with this money that we've been granted, and how are we fulfilling the needs of the grantors? And what we said. I know that Scott had a very good conversation with the Greater White Bear Lake Foundation when he was applying for our funding, and that they had said, or they had a lot of clarity about how this supports the programming. And we've consolidated a lot of Kate's time so that we're just having her do it in chunks instead of doing this and this and that, having her come in and out of it. And not a lot of changes on the website. So when we can chunk it out like that, it gets a little bit cheaper because her time it's $50 an hour. So it comes at an expense. And last year we had a much larger expense with Kate's freelance services, which is justified because every time we ask her for something, it incurs a cost. So we're running a little bit more efficiently this year, but that puts us in a position to be like, what are we going to do with this money now? And how are we going to put it to use for the way it was intended? So that is the closest thing I've got to a treasurer's report right there. Any other thoughts? Any questions about the financial report that I have produced?
One quick comment here as I'm looking at it. I know we probably are due for Kate giving us a bigger bill in the next month or so. just looking at the trends that she has had when she glomps things together. So we will probably have a 500 sometime in October or November. And it looks as if we will also have a Wix payment in November. So that said, it'll probably put us down to that $1,800 mark by November if nothing else does come in. Good news is that we have every so often a couple new members that sprinkle in. We've had 2 or 3 new ones that have come this summer. So that's good. You know, we continue to keep the doors open for all comers.
Yeah, that's as long as we can keep our operating moving. That's great. I don't know how big Kate's second one in latter part of the year, the 550 that we had in what was that? May was kind of a follow-up because she had invoices that we had some banking stuff going on, so we had to transfer all the banking stuff over to me, so I couldn't Zelle her it, so it kind of compounded a little bit. And a pretty big portion of that was follow up from the membership drive. So her updating things in the website from that. So that was the reason there was a big lump that happened there. But yeah, she always has. We have to plan for her expenses to exist at the end of the year also. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about additional planning, but just something that kind of noodle on. I wanted to say, like, we've got these funds here, so if ideas are coming up while we're talking through things, then that we can use this for, and you think would be a good use of our funds, I think that would be a wonderful thing to talk about. Okay, Secretary, moving on to Ms. Katie Everett. Do you have some reports, some things you want to chat about?
Nothing new, just the usual. I am keeping notes today in that document that's linked if anyone wants to watch me not be able to type words at the time that I am listening to them. But yeah, that's all their usual secretary things.
You're doing great.
Oh, thank you.
And then, yep, the events, yep, and recordings, all that gets put in there. And yeah, that's something that Kate will do for us after this one as well. Okay, so then we're gonna move on. We kind of bumped our board member check-ins up to the top, so we're good there. We wanted to make sure that Julia got to talk before she had to leave. So let's talk about some bylaws. Hey, everybody's favorite thing. Hopefully everyone got a chance to look at the bylaws and see the things that we were talking about changing. Katie, do you want to kind of you did the markup in there, or you did most of that. So do you want to kind of take the lead, and then we can discuss around it?
Sure. Basically the bulk of what we are intending to update is moving from the incoming president, current president, and outgoing president, because we have found that finding that many board members is a struggle, and it's also a lot of commitment for people who might otherwise be convinced. So the biggest thing that's kind of getting updated is moving that into the president-elect and president roles. So just basically that language, and then there's a couple of other just like clerical things that I updated in there while I was at it. Taylor, I can't hear you.
I'm talking with my mute on because that's what we've been doing since 2020. So we'll probably just let's go through the changes real quickly and point out the little clerical things and what we want to say. And then we'll vote on the changes in bulk if there's not a further discussion. We don't have to like create a motion for every single change.
Sounds good. I'm gonna make those words a little bit bigger so I can actually see what I'm doing. So that's all kind of somewhere on the first page. I added a punctuation.
It's in Article
It's on
1B,
15,
Board
yeah.
Directors. You put it in front of 15.
Yep, perfect. Make that a real sentence. And then under Article 5, Officers and Duties, changing from the 5 officer positions, replacing with, there are 4 officer positions that comprise the executive board. A succession plan is in place for the president role, beginning with a 1-year term as president-elect and a 1-year term as president to assure effective leadership transition for the organization. That's kind of the important one. Is there any discussion there? Okay.
Do we have any thoughts? The only thing I had any opinion about was the nomenclature, because president-elect usually implies that it's not a co-presidency. It would be the person who's coming into, just it's semantic, but is there something, do you feel like, does anyone feel like there's need for clarity there, or we just go with it?
I think it depends on the 2 people, if they feel, I am generally in favor of shared leadership, so I like co-president, but I can see 2 people where one of them's like, I feel it as the junior, I will, be your VP, to your president. So as written, it doesn't really talk much about co-presidency.
Yeah. So is it something that we could call it like incoming co-president and outgoing co-president? Just to change the language, so it implies more shared responsibility, and that there's somebody who's the senior one and someone who's the junior.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think to me, the sell for getting someone to want to be able to do it is that they kind of have a learning year. So I think either way we state that comes across, but kind of also ensuring that people know that like there's expectations that first year also is good.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think,
the
and
kind
I,
of, oh,
go ahead. Go ahead.
go ahead, Taylor.
No, go, please.
When I look at what co-president has meant when I've been with you, Taylor, and also with you, John, I wonder if some wording in there, a little narrative, is that as we talk about what does for now, let's just say a co-president-elect, that individual, as they move into their term as president or just co-president that second year, some duties will be navigating to that role that weren't there for the first year role. I don't know how to word that, but at least that's, as co-president, you're not both doing the same things, but you're there to support each other. And the president does have a few more duties than what the president-elect may have their first year. So without it getting wordy, is that something that is even of importance to anybody?
I think some of that's handled in that addendum of the officer descriptions.
Sure.
And we can get to that too with like how specific we want to be with what those assignments are. So I think
Yeah, and I'm sorry,
section
Katie, but I
maybe
think that's a great idea. I don't even know as if we have to have really specific roles because they're kind of changing at times. It depends upon what climate we're in with what's going on around us. Those duties could change. So maybe if we leave them just somewhat generic, other than the obvious ones. So I would agree with you that addendum could probably hold that information.
So I'll just read what we've got on there for in Article 5, officers and duties. It says, President, subject to the oversight of the Board of Directors, the President shall have the general supervision of the affairs of the organization. The President shall preside at all meetings of the Board of Directors and shall have such other duties as may be prescribed by the board. Perfectly vague. I love that.
Yeah.
And the president shall serve as an ex officio member of all committees. The president shall furnish a written report annually to the board of directors concerning activities of the corporation. That should be changed to organization in there, Katie, for consistency for the previous year. And then the section 2 says president-elect. shall perform the duties of the president in the absence of the president and shall have other powers and duties that may be assigned by the board. President-elect shall generally assume the role of president for the following year. So I think that all we really have to do is do section 1. It would be like outgoing co-president, or we could say senior co-president, however we want to phrase that. Um, and just and then under the president-elect, say junior co-president or incoming co-president, and then take that section 2 and maybe minimize it down to second co-president or junior co-president shares in the duties of the presidency, or however we want to say that. And then it's basically the same sort of thing, but and whatever kind of narrative think that you would be appropriate in there, Scott.
Did we
Yeah,
start with
I'm
terms
perfectly
we
okay
want?
with whatever, with what we've got showing here. Does it get down to just what we're calling those positions in terms of title? The semantics of that, is it co-president-elect and co-president? Whatever we decide on, I think is fairly well explained thereafter, so it doesn't get to be that big of a deal.
Yeah. President-elect usually that's the semantic difference that I'm trying to clarify, is it makes it sound
Yeah.
like they are not the co-president. So if we're going to a co-president model, I think they have to be called a co-president. Because it makes it sound like a vice president, which I don't care about titles. I mean, this isn't an ego thing or anything like that. It's just to create the expectation that when you take this on, it's kind of a 2-year commitment, and that you serve with someone from the get-go. Yeah, John, I see you saying senior and junior co-president. That's the language that they use in the Senate. It makes sense to use that kind of same language. So I don't have a problem doing that.
Or it could be co-president term 1, co-president term 2. And I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm not set on that. I
Yeah.
like that, the junior and senior.
Yeah. I think, I mean, for the purposes of this, does anyone have any objection to junior and senior?
I think the only thing that I would offer is if there's outgoing, there's a little ray of hope that we mean that. If we call them co-president outgoing.
Yeah. Which is
And
fine. Is there any objection to incoming and outgoing co-president?
I kind of agree with Katie though. I feel like if I was taking it on, it doesn't sound so scary knowing that it's incoming and outgoing
Yeah.
versus junior and senior. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean I keep serving as a senior? That kind of a thing.
Right.
So
That's exactly why it was developed originally in that vein, because people would be willing to come if they knew they weren't going to have to stay in the same. Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course, we haven't operated in that time, so that's intention.
So let's
and
go with,
reality.
oh, sorry, I thought you were.
Scott,
I
I'm
say,
looking at you.
any objection to just going with outgoing and incoming co-president? All right. Katie, are you able to make the update in there? Okay.
Why don't we do this, since we're recording it? We should probably formally go through just a voting end of it, are we using this as a vote today to make it official?
Well, what we can do, we can workshop the entire thing and
Okay.
come to agreement on the different pieces of it, and then just have one vote to approve all changes that were agreed upon.
Sure. Perfect.
Yeah, just one vote to move the bylaws in, the updated bylaws. But we have to keep track of the changes that we made.
Okay.
All right.
I've got now it states a succession plan is in place for the president role, beginning with a 1-year term as outgoing president and a 1-year term. Maybe I should switch those. Beginning with incoming and a 1-year term as outgoing co-president.
Yes.
Lock
Love
those.
it. Lock it in.
Thanks for verbalizing that, Katie, because I think it's important when we're recording something.
Yes.
So then section 1 underneath that, I will make as the outgoing president, outgoing co-president.
Yes.
And section 2 will be incoming co-president. Do we want to change any of the narrative for those positions at all?
I think the outgoing co-president is perfect as it is. The incoming co-president, so right after where your cursor is in there, Katie, the president, it still says president-elect. But shall perform the duties of the president in the absence of the president and shall have other powers and duties as may be assigned by the board. The president-elect shall generally assume the role of outgoing president, outgoing co-president for the following year. I would say, so we could say something like, if we're going to workshop this a little bit, say, the incoming co-president shall share and perform the duties of the president, especially in the absence of the president, or something to that effect. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but something in that ballpark. Just so, like, to paraphrase, what we're trying to say is that you're sharing duties with the outgoing president, but you're not. I mean, but if in case of like major presidential decision or conflict between the two, the outgoing president is going to be the person who has the weight, if that makes sense. And I don't think that hopefully we'll never get in that situation. I'm just thinking of kind of safeguarding against that. Like, if you have a 50-50 split and if there was some sort of contention happening, who's got the final say?
Yep.
And I think that would be the place to sort of say, it's shared responsibilities, but ultimate decision defers to the outgoing president in absence of, or in the presence of disagreement or something to that effect. Because the incoming co-president should be able to make all the decisions that are necessary whenever they're necessary. But if the only reason that there would be any need to create a distinction between the two is for situations of possible conflict.
I also wanted on that point, the changing from 5 positions to 4 positions on the executive, particularly given that we allow the secretary and treasurer to be the same person. There could be 3 people on the executive. I think it's important to have an odd number if possible, or sorry, we could have an executive lock or if there's a vote and it's 4 people, it could be 2 and 2. So,
Oh, I see your point. A
Yeah.
deadlock vote.
yeah, I think that it's really important that there be more than 2. But yeah,
Because it's supposed to be
we don't,
co-president, secretary, treasurer. And we don't have a 5th one. You could always say that, like, in case of a board deadlock vote, that it can be done by email vote to the board.
I don't think that we need a necessarily solution because our executive committee doesn't make decisions, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so strike it. We'll
So
just do-
noted. Move on.
Noted in thought, noted, considered, appreciated. So Katie, you throwing some language. Ah, ha, ha, ha. So it
Yeah,
says,
so
go
I
for it.
just basically updated. I didn't put in any of the decision-making stuff for incoming co-president, but right now it says incoming co-president shall share the duties of the outgoing co-president, especially in the absence of the outgoing co-president. The incoming co-president will generally assume the role of outgoing co-president for the following year. Do we want any of that language of like decision-making power defaults to the outgoing co-president, or are we fine?
I think that would go into the definition of the outgoing president's description. Just saying, like, it can be a small line just at the end of it that says in issues of co-presidential disagreements, ultimate decision lies with the outgoing co-president. Something like that.
So we can always tell our incoming co-president, you don't like that decision, just wait till next year.
Yep, then it's yours. Then you get to do whatever you want.
Have at it.
Okay, I may be jumping the gun here, but I'm just thinking about this because we just had the same conversation with some of our other stuff, uh, with one of the other committees that I'm on. For personal reasons, we were talking about our board stuff. Do we need to have in there anywhere that you can be president more than once? We just added that to our,
Yeah.
I mean, just as a thought. I don't know. I read through it and I don't remember reading anything about that, but I'm just wondering if that's just something that we need to, because we ended up adding that to my personal groups stuff.
Such a smart idea. Yeah.
If
So
you want to, if you want to stay on, let's keep you going. Like,
yeah,
the only
I
thing
would
is we made sure that in our bylaws that they had to bump down to VP before they could be president again. Like, they had to be bumped down. They couldn't be we've got a VP and president, so our prez couldn't be prez 2 years in a row. They had to bump down to VP, so the VP could bump up, kind of a thing.
absolutely. I think that's a great idea. And you could just add it as like one line in outgoing president that says, outgoing at the end of their term, the outgoing president with board approval can become the incoming president.
We have in Article 4, Section 3, term limits. All board members shall serve 2-year terms, but are eligible for re-election for up to 3 consecutive terms, which says to me that is that a re-election up to 3 consecutive? Is that a 6-year or is that an 8-year? It's probably a 6-year. And I don't know that anybody's paid attention to that ever.
John, are you interested in being on for 6 years as president? Come
No.
on.
No, just being on a board member. That's just for board members.
That's
Yeah.
just board
Yeah.
members.
Yeah, I just made that awareness as I read through it over the weekend because I was thinking several of us are reaching the end of our term here.
I don't think that our board is spoiled by just people who are too committed to it.
I would
You know?
I would advise, if we're making changes, that we just strike Section 3.
I think the 2-year thing is good to have in there to explain to people when you come onto the board that it's a 2-year term that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
signing up for.
Yep.
But I think we strike the term limit. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a good cleanup. And that's let's talk about that one more time. That was in Article 4, Section 3,
Yep.
terms.
So we're eliminating that or just modifying it?
Now,
We're eliminating.
all board members shall serve 2-year terms.
Yep. And then, but not are eligible for a reelection up to 3. We're taking out the term limit only.
Yeah, but we could leave in there, but are eligible for reelection, period,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I got that. officers and duties. I eliminated, so back under Article 5, that eliminated Section 3 for past president. Under committees.
So I got stuff on committees.
Okay.
Because we are non-conforming to our bylaws right now because of this. So, executive committee, yes, shall be comprised of the officers of the board, participation in the board of directors shall blah, 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 and ensure that the bylaws, mission statement, and annual operating plan are defined and working and writing enforced and all of that. Executive committee also functions as a finance committee. Good. We do not currently work with the appointed CPA firm to review the annual audit or financial reviews. Because we just aren't that complicated. So I would say instead of work with the appointed CPA firm to review the annual audit or financial review, I would just change that to say something more like the board will at every board or the executive board at every board meeting will make available to board members financial statements and balances. Just so that it's like, here's where we're at, and that you guys can see it every time.
Should we add that with or work with the appointed CPA firm? So if we decide to do that at some point, it's an option.
Sure. Love it.
Okay, so right now it reads the executive committee will make available to the class board the current financial report at regular board meetings and or will work with the appointed CPA firm to review the annual audit or financial review.
I would just change executive committee to finance committee because that little section there is about the finance committee, and the executive board committee acts as the finance committee, but just it creates clarity.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that part? Groovy. So then we get into board development committee, which I think is actually a really good idea to have. I would love to have that. But I don't want all this language to go away because it is good for both the advocacy, education, and member relations committees. But is it just in order to keep the language, can we use like ad hoc or something like that for when we need it, when we are capable of doing it? Like what do we think about that?
Yeah, is there something more like a task force that we call them? So it's more like project based and they can kind of be formed as needed.
Yeah. I think the idea of the board development committee, I almost just want to leave it out there and just exist as non-conforming to it at this moment because we just aren't. But to keep that on our horizon, because I think that's board development and it also sort of membership development, like looking into who can we pull into this, and it would be nice if we had some sort of formal gathering or some sort of formal committee that's focused on that, on how we expand and how we recruit and how we, follow up and how we get people kind of in a pipeline onto the board. because that's a whole other project. So I kind of want to leave that committee.
Do we want that? The current version of the bylaws says that it's chaired by the past president. I made that president-elect just so that the current president, now outgoing president, didn't have as much on their plate. Do we have opinions about who would chair a philosophical board development committee?
I think it's a good idea to have the noob do it. Have it be the incoming, because then they're kind of like pulling someone up behind them, you know, instead of looking at the person who's got their eye on the horizon. You've got the person who's like, who do I want to serve with next? Who do I want to bring up here with me? So I think that's a good instinct there, to have it be the incoming president, co-president.
Right?
I I wonder what you think of right after board development committee putting the class board may appoint a board development committee and just put that in right there. And then that's you can have it or not.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I'm stopping.
I'll fight you for it.
Nope. It's just a suggestion on my part.
No, I think
Yeah,
it's great.
no,
It's,
I like
it's
that.
great. Yeah, because I like it. I just I want a little, like, I don't want us to be in, like, not in line with our bylaws if we don't have this going on right now, but
Right.
And what do you think about doing the same thing on current committees section 3?
And do we even just like not call that current?
you can just call it ad hoc committees. ADHOC.
Katie,
there
I
a
was
dash in
thinking the same thing because we really don't have a current committee for that.
Yep.
I think that works. Other committee discussion at all?
Can you open the addendum to that, the committee addendum, to which it references? It's good. You got to scroll down. There it is. Oh, there we go. I got it. There we go.
We can have an ad hoc committee review our committee descriptions.
I second.
It is
Well,
kind of a lot, and it's like it was established, this says 2022. So
Mhm.
what we think about those may be different now. And I don't know if
Yeah.
we all of this conversation now or not.
Let's maybe put this on December. Because now we've got a situation where we do not need to have the committees. But then let's talk about this in December so that we have something to come back to just on that. I know we all want to kind of like be like, I'm done, but
Right.
I think that deserves some attention and discussion. Let's put it on the agenda.
I made a note in my notes.
I do love an infographic. It looks
Okay. So we will table the committee descriptions for now. So then under financial and fiduciary responsibilities, I just got rid of that and because it didn't make sense to me. In section 1, changed another corporation to organization. In section 4, any conversation about the financial stuff? Okay. And then our amendments and addendums. We've got the executive board descriptions, which now I will need to change some language in again. So, officer position descriptions, we will have This will be outgoing president at the top. Oh, switch the way I'm doing this. Outgoing president, 1 year. Outgoing co-president. It's fascinating stuff.
No, this is the nitty gritty of board membership right here. We're doing it. We're doing the thing.
Okay, and then president-elect, I will update to incoming co-president. Why do we use these words so many times? Outgoing. Are there any discussions on what we have in here as the duties for especially the president roles?
Here.
So
The duties-
outgoing president is responsible for providing leadership in the organization, holds accountability for legal and financial compliance with the assistance of other board members. Their duties are planning agendas and presides at meetings of the executive board and board member meetings. Completes the annual report using approved template at board transition meeting. Approves copy to legal counsel if designated for association records. 1 year term. Incoming president becomes outgoing co-president in the succeeding year. Noting that it's a 2-year term, and then the incoming co-president duties are to assist the outgoing co-president in carrying out responsibilities, serves as backup for decisions and actions, presents outgoing. Represents the outgoing president on committees or projects as needed and presides over meetings when the outgoing president is absent.
Outgoing co, outgoing co, outgoing co.
We need an acronym.
OG. It's the OG. The outgoing is the OG.
Also, I meant to bring this up earlier and then I was typing. I think it feels potentially possible to have a better term listing of our current board because we are kind of specific about terms and things, but I didn't find anywhere in our Google Docs anything that like listed when people came in onto the board and that kind of thing. So I think that can be, I will, as secretary, try to start putting some of that together and might ask for help filling those in so that we can kind of document as board elections come around, like what's going on. So we can pay a little more attention to that too.
Yeah, because it should be a situation. I mean, if we're running on all cylinders and everything was the way it should be, half the board should be beginning at one point, be incoming, and half the
Right.
board should be outgoing in their 2-year terms, so that we know where people are in that 2-year cycle. And yeah, you're exactly right. So I think having something to account for that, that's like numbered 1 through 13, or we're supposed to have
Right.
13, right? Having it that numbered out would be
Right.
a good thing, and just figure out who belongs in 1 through 6 and who belongs in 7 through
Right.
13.
And we might have to just kind of like arbitrarily start somewhere for
Yes.
now, you know,
Yep.
and
Yep.
when we've got it.
Exactly.
So, all right, and then we've got there was not on this page. I deleted that we don't retain a hard copy of meeting minutes and just put them in the Google Drive accounts. And then I also removed that the secretary updates the website because that's not technically what's happening. I updated our official address to be Venice Heights City Hall from White Bear City Hall under the treasurer. And then I just changed the language underneath that table to note that the roles of secretary and treasurer may be held by the same individual rather than combined into one role.
Sorry, I have to excuse myself for 1 second.
That's okay. There also, this might be another thing that we look at with the committee descriptions. The table down below, I don't know how important all of these were, but it felt like there's like a lot of updating to do with all of these, like where we have stuff and who does it, responsibility stuff. So I don't know if that's another one if we want to tackle all of that right now. I'm not exactly certain how important all of this is as part of our bylaws. As far as like from organization platforms and all of those kinds of things, if that really needs to be in here or not, it feels like a lot that we're kind of tying ourselves to. But I am also not super familiar with nonprofits if there was like a reason that that was there, or if it was just there as that was the place where it felt connected enough to be noticed. I don't know.
I think it was just how do we have a big old document that's got a lot of institutional memory?
Right.
So I don't feel like it's bad to have in there. I don't think it
I
Yeah.
think if memory serves me, is this a document that's been like this for some time, Katie, from what you can tell?
I think the last one was also 2022.
Because since then, I guess I'd have to go in and look, but hasn't Kate gone in and electronically got a lot of this stored? So if we were able to just talk about where to find it, the
Yeah.
executive committee could go and find it.
So Taylor, we were just talking about whether or not this whole table of organization platforms belongs in something that's attached to the bylaws at all. There's like a kind of a lot that's like has changed and kind of feels a little bit flexible. I mean, I can go through and just like update all of those things, but do we really need to state in an addendum of our bylaws who we print stuff through? Can't we print stuff from anyone?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah. This is just kind of like a reference. It's a really good reference grid for like who we use and
Yeah.
primary sources of, I mean, it's not terrible to have it in there, but you could just say like you could change or preferred organization platforms or something like that. So it's not like we're non-conforming with our bylaws if we don't use these people, but it's just a reference point. I don't I don't know. I don't really think it needs to be in there, but I don't think it's
And it feels
detrimental to
just
have
like
it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not bad to have it in there when it's updated, but it feels like something that should be kept up to date, and it's a lot to update if we don't need it.
Time Kate has gone in to change something on the website, I can pretty much guarantee you that there are probably a few things that are missed in getting updated on this document.
Yeah.
Because it's not a flow through,
Right.
meaning just because we change something on what we're doing electronically, oh, that's right, I got to remember to do it on this document.
Yeah.
So I think to your point, Katie, this is probably something that this information, albeit very good, maybe it doesn't live here. Maybe it just completely lives electronically.
Ideally, I mean, if again, if we're running on all cylinders, we would have a really good onboarding for executive committee people, and we could give them this sort of thing in a package, like that says,
Right.
review these documents. And I know that we've talked about having that before, and we've had something similar, but that just says like, here's the bylaws, here's the people that we use, here's, just so that but I don't think that this section, to your points, needs to be in our bylaws.
Right.
But it
And it
should be
doesn't
somewhere that
like
it's obvious.
those organization platforms to me aren't directly related to where we start with officer position descriptions. It just is kind of like, oh, this is also in that document. So if you're looking for it
We'd
as
never
someone
find it.
who like knows that table exists somewhere, I wouldn't look to in this addendum probably to find this anyway. So
Right.
okay.
So I think maybe we take that out and just make it a document inside of the executive board file in the drive.
Yeah.
We should also have somewhere, somehow, a physical, or not a physical, but a native local backup to everything that we have inside of our drive, because if drive ever goes, then
Yeah.
we just, or if somebody just accidentally deletes our executive board committee email, that's all gone. We've had that
Right.
happen where somebody left and we deleted their email and we realized that there was a very important file under theirs that they were like, oh gosh, that's gone now. So
I wish Kate was on the call today because I know that she could identify that some of this has already been done in our drive. To what extent, I don't know, and I would have to go through and review it. She has made a lot of different categories within that, so
oh yeah, yeah. I'm saying make a duplicate of it that's
right.
local, so we just have a backup in case something happened. But yeah, I no, it is wonderfully broken up. So you can just so Katie, you can put that document somewhere into the executive committee folder, right?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah. And we could even, you can get like terabyte hard drives now that we just pass around to the outgoing president. And once a year in December, we just download the Google Drive onto it.
Yeah. Oh,
Potentially no one
absolutely.
ever has to look at it, but it's there if Google goes down.
It goes with the check card. Wherever the
Yeah.
check card goes, whoever is the bearer of the check card is also the bearer. Exactly. Exactly. Allie's got it.
And there could be like a ton of duplicate information if stuff doesn't change from 25 to 26, but doesn't really even need to be sorted every time because those things are massive. So,
Yep. Yep.
okay, then with that, I think we are ready for a motion to, oh, John,
I
what you
move
got?
that we adopt all of the changes that have been discussed.
Discussed and listed in the conversation and will be and have been recorded on the video and are visible at the link.
Perfect.
Was that a true motion?
It was.
Okay, I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We have updated our bylaws. Thank you everyone for your work on that. Yay!
Thank you, Katie. I know that was a lot of work, so thank you very much for taking
Yes.
that on.
Yes. Huge. Huge,
Great
huge.
job.
Happy to do it.
Oh.
Deep breath. Then we're not done with the agenda. Here we are. We've got until, does this meeting go till 3:30? Is that the
Three.
our marker?
We technically
Three.
go till 3, but
Okay.
I think probably a lot of this is going to cruise along. So board succession planning. I will be the outgoing next year. Scott gets to go and enjoy the pasture.
I'll still plan on being on the board.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't have to be the president anymore, though, thankfully. And thank you so much for doing what you've done for so long. Um, if anyone is interested, we are going to there's time to have discussion between now and then, but if they're going to wanting to be the incoming president, we've just updated our bylaws, so you won't have to do that. We'll have discussion about that, but put that in your mind. If you're interested at all, talk to me, talk to Scott. We can get you on board with that. Any other thoughts on that? Anything else we need to say? No? Okay, good. And then, so we do have to have, however, come our December meeting, we have to have a slate. So we'll contact everybody individually and see if you are able to continue on with us on the board. I would love to have every single one of you to come back because you're all good people. You know what we do, we know what we're about, and that's really, really valuable. So grants, do you want to talk about grants, Scott?
Yes, I think the White Bear Area Community Foundation, that grant process is open. We did not receive, well, we did not apply last year, and I think that was just due to reasons of being told that, it has been very common through the years to get it every other year anyways. And then as it had been explained why, it was because we didn't have specific projects each year to get approved. It was more a little bit along the line of kind of an operating expense that we were looking for. So that's where they opted to say, we're happy to support, but can't do it every year for these reasons. So that said, we did not have it last year. We would need to do that. It's open this year if we'd like to apply for that. Or have we already passed the Vadnais Heights date as far as you know, Katie, for the fall one?
I want to say they are August, but I can double check quick.
Because in the next one for Vadnais Heights would be next spring. Because it's twice a year that happens, I believe.
Yeah.
Scott, weren't you and I at the December event accepting the White Bear Foundation?
I
Was
was
that this last year that,
I was going to say
or
the
was
same
that 2
thing.
years?
We deposited that check from them on January
Yes.
something, January 7th. So I think
But-
that was a
But
2025
how does
award.
I don't know how their funding goes. Like, is that from the year? Like, I honestly wasn't tracking dates here. I just know that I was at the event receiving that with you was it for the previous year or for for 25?
80's got it.
If we got that check, it would be for what's upcoming. So I have totally kind of forgotten that it was this for this
Yeah, so
this year
yes,
that we're
good
living
point.
in right now. John, do you know?
I just looked at my calendar. There was something weird on it. And there is a Google invite to some of us saying Vadnais Heights Grant App due Sunday, August 31st. And that's
August 31st?
August 31st, yeah.
Okay.
So have to wait till next end of February.
So if we indeed did receive that check, Lynn, as per what
We
you
have
just
to
mentioned,
wait,
and I don't
yeah.
doubt that at all, we would not be considered for this next year based on the way that we are requesting those funds to go, what it goes towards. If we were project-based, it would have been different.
I thought that was White Bear, not Vadnais.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the White Bear is open right now for grant applications.
And I was thinking, didn't we also hear, maybe this is me making this up, that it was every other, even if it was more project-based, less administrative, you still would potentially want to consider every other year, not applying is that, I'm recalling that.
From their request?
From the White Bear perspective, that you would want to still, I mean, again, this has all changed over the years, but it was an every other year model of don't put it in every year kind of thing. the
I think
request?
some of that had to do, if we had a brand new project that was serving something different with different results and a different narrative every year, it would not be an issue.
Okay,
We could
Okay.
still apply for that. It was a little bit of that ongoing. If you have a project that's 2 years in the works,
yeah,
then don't come back that second year looking for additional funding for that same project.
right.
So
Got it.
I'm inside of our folder in the executive board looking at the application from Scott for, it says 2024 community partner grants. And it shows that it was the date of the fiscal year 1/1/2025. So that would be this year. So then not applying again. I mean, start date, yeah, it's for this year. So we would be then applying for the fiscal year of 1/1/27, and then yeah.
Fall of 26.
So then yep, so then next year we do the application for the 2027 year.
Because of the fact that what you presented, Taylor, in our financials, we're fairly solvent right now, was really cutting our expenses back. If we're simply asking for monies to kind of carry us along, and we asked for 2,000 and got 1,000 or 1,500, I think that would be, I don't think that would be a good view of our organization if we stockpiled money
Yeah, no,
for no
it's
particular reason.
meant to be used. And I
Yeah.
think we're in a position right now where we're doing it every other year sounds reasonable. I think their advice is wise.
Yeah.
So I think we're good on that. So you're talking about possibly doing the Vadnais Heights one in February again?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll revisit that maybe in December, talk about where we're at financially, and if we come up with a project that we want to do that could use some funds. If so, I think maybe that would be like the parting challenge here is to say, everybody kind of go your own way, and when we come back in December, it would be really cool if we came back with some ideas of what we can do to have a greater impact, create greater value for our membership. Just what does that look like? Do we want to do something in January for our annual meeting that is required by our bylaws? That's a little bit more interactive and in person and has a little more oomph to it. Like, what do we want to do with this? So I think that that's just something to consider.
Could somebody give me an example of something that you've done before? What does this look like? A special something project to use the money for?
Well, we
That.
used to for our annual meeting. I think Taylor's point could be something we could, hate to use the word resurrect, but we did always try to kick off the year, and it did create a sense of connection of a board, both incoming, outgoing. It was a celebration slash annual meeting. That was, we have really not, we've slid through those since COVID. I mean, we just haven't had any, the only, I mean, it wasn't a big expense, but it was something I remember we would always meet
We still do that, Lynn.
and do a social.
Yeah. But we've only had it where everyone who comes, whatever beverages they wish to buy for themselves,
Right, we
that's
did do
on
that
their
at
bill.
Olive Garden. Yeah, I did. I hear you're
Yep.
right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yep, but we've been able to, the board had determined that we were able to absorb some appetizers that were provided there for those
Yeah.
who showed up.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
just one of the other things that when grants were coming into play and we were looking to build some opportunities here prior to COVID back in 2019, when we had an incoming, an existing president or current president and an outgoing, that system, we also had the three committees for transportation, housing, and what was it? Was it four pillars, Lynn? Dementia and age friendly. I think those were the ones. We actually had planned an event that was going to take place in April of 2020. And it was, we had some local politicians that were going to be there. We had some local government that was planning on being there. We were going to have I forget exactly what it was going to be, but we had a
Well,
committee that
yeah,
had planned it out.
yeah,
And
there was age-friendly work going on at the state capitol level and really was gonna, I mean, all of that sort of has since gotten.
so that got canceled. And the second one, Jess, was going to be transportation, where I was on that committee, and we were actually planning something at the old South Campus parking lot. And we were going to be able to use a room within South Campus on a Saturday where Metro Mobility was going to be there. There was going to be possible Uber and Lyft representation. Nutrax was going to be there. So we were going to have examples of transportation, and people who showed up, we were going to have booths for talking about what transportation meant, what was available for seniors in the area, and then they could board any of those buses and just go around that parking lot. That was canceled as well. But those were some of the things that the committee back in the committees back in the day were working on.
So I
And
know,
John
yeah,
had a housing event that you were
right,
going to be
those were more
working on too.
direct service related versus organization collaborative slash. So I guess what I'm thinking or wondering, I know we're at a time here. I know there's starting to, health fairs are coming back, senior fairs are coming back. I'm wondering if we don't want to put thought to budgeting for, because we used to collaborate, and if we couldn't individually as an organization fund having a table at some of these things that happen all year long or quarterly or seasonally, we would have a table and then we would share it. It would be a shared, and that would be one of the perks of being a member of class, is that you could have shared, your organization could have shared space. I mean, it doesn't always work, but there was, I know I did several and it worked really well. Like it was a great, for those of us doing it, we got to know each other well and sort of in community, and then also for the recipients to see us working collaboratively together, the attendees, kind of in that space. And so that is something I'd like to just propose, that it happens every year. Nobody would have to build it or create it. I mean, these are things that are already happening, because most of the times there's fees involved, right? And those are the first things to get cut in our budgets, is having sort of FaceTime with the people, marketing slash, the fair budgets and all that. So that's one idea, that it shows us working together collaboratively. And I know, I mean, they usually aren't big fees, but I know, like, I just did memory screens at the White Bear the old senior center. But the only reason that I didn't have to pay is because I was doing a memory screens. I mean, I was providing a service. So that doesn't always happen. Otherwise, it would have been like $200. So so that's an idea.
Since we are at 3:00, one note though, if we do want to do something for our annual meeting, our next board meeting is December, and then January comes very fast. So maybe there's a conversation we can have over email in the meantime, if there's something we want to kind of like approve in December.
Yeah.
If we want to do something for January, as my only thought. Later in the year, we have a little more time, but
yeah.
So let's
beginning of December,
maybe
it happens
task to like give a couple weeks to think about this, and then circle back, just like put an email back out to the board and saying like, hey, do we have any ideas for this that we can just connect on over email instead of calling another meeting or whatever, and just kind of say like, here's some good ideas. Yeah, we're open to some stuff, but yeah, let's keep everybody on. Let's keep moving forward so we can get people back to their lives. Is that all right? We good with that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. 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 I love that conversation. That kind of historical perspective is very, very helpful. So good question, Jess. And where are we at then in the whole situation?
So under 2026 class schedule, we also have a note about setting our class schedule for next year as far as lunch and learns, networking and board meetings, as well as structuring our membership drive timeline a little bit better. Does this whole group want to be involved with that conversation? We can move that to December. I think probably would still be okay.
Julia should be here for that. She has events, and we have had conflicts with her events, so I would want her to be there.
Would it help for someone to put like a tentative 2026 together and then we have something to respond to, like based on what we've been sort of in the
Yes.
rotation?
Yeah.
I can kind of just like duplicate what, if we do what we did this year, next year, I can kind of send that out as a starting point.
Awesome. So yeah,
Thank
make
you.
your starting part. We'll run it by Julia first to make sure that we're not conflicting with any of the Ramsey County stuff, and then get it out to board and whatnot. Love
Do
it.
we want, has membership drive typically like we kick that off in January and then we're asking people by mid-February? Is that kind of what we've done?
Generally, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Just as a heads up, Julia put something in the chat earlier, and it said we would normally hold our joint meetings on October. Taylor, let's think about this, or that we should talk all together by October? Question mark. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we have the October networking one.
Oh, gotcha.
so
Okay.
We don't
I
need
just
to.
wasn't sure if that was something that was pre-planned or not. Sorry.
Nope.
Yeah, for the mashup.
Yeah. I don't know if we have anything that's usual for those yet when we've done
Not
two.
really.
So
Yeah, I think we did April. April was
Yeah.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
this year. So the upcoming event is October 8th, right? October 8th, and we're doing that at Encore in Matamidi. So that's the next one that's coming up. And I can board lead that. That's fine. I can go there. I know Allison Bybee well, so I can be our person. And then number 12 is going to be, or number 12, November 12th is going to be networking at Linglumston and Lino Lakes. And so we have to connect with Deb, right?
Mhm.
Do you
Is that
have
right?
an email handy for her, Lynn? Or could you forward one to us? Or how do we find her? Do we
She's
have
a
to
member. She's a member.
Okay. I'm sure we've got her.
I don't have it in my system anymore.
Okay. I'm sure we can find it somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, she joined. I know she joined because she.
Okay. That's helpful.
Okay.
And then December 1st is our next board meeting. We
Indeed.
will finish deciding all of the things we started on. So I did drop the December board Zoom link in the bottom of today's agenda. So you've got that, but we'll send that out again before December. So
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. So then, anyone else have any other things that you need to talk about? We only 7 minutes over. That's not the worst for all the stuff we did in the bylaws. Good job.
I do not.
If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
I will second.
We have a motion. We have multiple motions in a second. So all those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we are officially adjourned. Thanks so much, and we're going to be following up. Katie, thanks so much for taking notes. Everybody have a great afternoon, and we'll see you on October 8th, if not before.
Thank
Bye,
you, Team
guys.
Clara.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Bye.